Hello, my October daily friends. I am coming to you with a few stories in my October daily. Pretty excited to knock out the next couple of stories. We have story 2, 3, and 4 today, I believe. Yes, I thought I was only going to get 2 done, but we actually got 3 done. So that is quite exciting. 2 of the stories go together, and one story is pretty easy, which is the one I'm working on now. This was just October 1st. I am a wedding photographer, and honestly, this was the first tree that I had seen in our area that was completely changed, pretty much. So I decided to take a picture with it. It was gorgeous. It was a gorgeous day. And yeah, so that is just my story of today. We are using mostly Traci Reed products today, as I purchased her goldenrod collection that she just put out, but we are also mixing in a little bit of October Mood. You just seen me there mess up that little banner. I was trying to put a little edge with some ink on it and swiped a little too much. Just so that it popped off the page a little bit, since we have a lot of oranges going on. But yeah, just used a label. All of this is obviously from digital products. So we're doing a little bit of hybrid spreads, which is mostly what I do in these days now. But yeah, and then using one of her elements in that group, actually 2. I'm sorry. We used some splatters from the goldenrod, and then this fall is in the air like embellishment, and printed that out on vellum. Just trying to start getting into the mode of using the vellums and all of the good things that we tend to use in the October and December daily projects. And then I don't know why I don't use these methods a lot in my regular everyday scrapbooking, because I absolutely love them in these products. But like, I haven't pulled out my foil quill since doing December daily pretty much. So really need to start doing that kind of stuff again, getting back into the use of using those things, and making sure, like settings and everything are right. So what I am doing here to reduce bulk in my album, which we all know I need to do, I'm just making this a flap. You could just attach this to the top of your photo with a little bit of washi, but I decided I wanted it to be a little bit of a flip out. So I am using my bone folder, or this, what is this? I can't even remember the name of it. I am having a total mind blank. Anyways, you guys scored. There we go. Scoreboard. To score a little fold over, all you need is just a little bit. I think it was like 1/4 of an inch over there, just so that you can tuck it in between your album and that page. So that is what I'm doing here. I am having a heck of a time with this Tombow Mono adhesive, which I never usually have issues with it, but this one doesn't love me too much. And here you're going to see me just tucking it in. Pretty much I wanted that little embellishment to fall right over my face. And yeah, and just flipping it up, making just so that it's not just a full page photo, and giving a little bit more of a, flair, I guess. So, and then just dropping that right into the album. Now, one thing I really need to start remembering in this, and this is the problem with working within an already pre-made album, which I don't do very often, is I really need to start remembering which side of the page I'm working on, because obviously I would have probably had this one fold out the other way, if it was on the other side of the page. It really turned out just fine. It's no big deal. You will see in the next spread that I do that I just put the elements on the wrong side of the page. Again, it is a preference thing, so it doesn't matter too much, but it is what it is. Like, some people, it might annoy them, but not too much me. On my last video, I did get a few questions about printing. I do print everything on Canon matte photo paper. I print my embellishments on there. That's where I get like the truest color, I believe, and my photos. Now, the photos are just a preference thing. Some people like the glossier effect. I might switch over to a luster effect on my for my pictures, but honestly, so that I try and get the most out of my paper. It's expensive, so I'm always just trying to like cover the whole page, and I don't want to be printing and changing the paper in my printer. Honestly, I'm lazy. So, all right. So the actual not next story, but the next story I'm going to work on, just because I had the pictures printed out, is the story of my son's homecoming. So this is actually like the 8th of October. So we did jump a little bit. That is why I am kind of doing this type of project, because I'm not going to have a story every day. I am extremely busy right now with my business, and as I'm a wedding photographer, and right now it is, October in Michigan, and October is like out of control season. So I have had tons of sessions. I have tons of sessions coming up and weddings, along with all of my kids' activities. And I'm also a virtual assistant for a few photographers. And so you can only imagine, like, they're busy. So it's all just busy, right? So I knew also that I didn't want to do October daily, because it really just sucked the creativity out of myself and bogged me down for December daily. And I really want to be ready for December daily this year. So we are just doing a full page spread on this side. It's going to be pretty simple. I might embellish this, but I ran out of paper or space on the paper, so I'm not going to worry about the embellishments. You are going to see me throughout this project kind of go back and forth with some projects, just because like I said, I like to fill the spot. And if I don't have a spot for that embellishment on that piece of paper because it's too big or whatever it is, then I'll just print it off with my next set of stories and go back and do that. So you'll probably see me flipping back and forth between some pages. That doesn't bother me all that much, especially when it's, just an embellishment here and there. So again, this is a paper from the Goldenrod collection by Traci Reed. I am just matting that paper, or that white piece of paper, with the pattern paper. This paper pretty much matched the girlfriend's dress that my son was with. I wanted to pull that back up a little bit because I wanted to cut it down. I wanted to see the paper a little bit more, but because I do use matte photo paper for my printing, once that adhesive is down, pretty much you're not moving it. Like, it tears the paper back up. That is one con to using this matte photo paper, is that once it's down without tearing it back up. So just wrote my journaling on that tag, started to bring in some oranges, along with this was like a 2.2 by 2.2 photo of my son alone. Next thing I am going to do is just be putting some embellishments, just 2 of the leaves, along with another banner that says, I think, like Magical Times, over this 2x2 photo. And the last thing on this spread that I'll be doing is stamping out Homecoming on that bottom portion. So just layering these embellishments, putting a little bit more adhesive because those leaves weren't wanting to stick down for me. Trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and I'm like, oh yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted. So just using the medium Jane alpha stickers. I had pulled out, as you can see, like tons of other stamps over here to try and figure this out, but it actually fit pretty darn well with the medium Jane. Now, I did want it 3 deep of letters, but that just wasn't going to work, as it would have been too tall. So I am using just the outline of the medium Jane stamps, and I am super sorry that I pulled this off camera or off like screen. I didn't realize that I had done that. Usually my screen goes to the edge of my table, and so I must have just had my camera in the wrong place. But you guys kind of get the gist of what I'm doing. I was trying to just draw in a line and get this all mapped out. It didn't work. Home was very centered and coming was very uncentered. That I messed me up, and I forgot to move the I over a little bit to compensate for that not being actually the middle of the word. It was the middle letter, but it wasn't the middle of the word type thing. That always messes me up. But like I said, this is handmade, so it's no big deal. You'll see like there's going to be a little space next to home, and I'll put like an embellishment there or something to trick the eye type thing that I wanted it that way, right? So the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, leave in the comments below if when you're doing like an October daily and a December daily, are you still doing a project life? Would you, if you do separate albums for your children, would you go back and re-document these pictures and other pictures? Because obviously I'm not fitting all of the pictures from my son's homecoming in this album. So do you go back and do spreads for everything? So I'm not against redoing spreads and putting them in our family album and then in my kids album if it's a big moment for my child. But I'm just wondering, would you go and do it 3 times because of, I might just like insert a picture of homecoming into our project life, especially since this year, I'm only doing big highlights of our October daily. Instead of like last year, I did everyday things I did 31 days of, October daily like it should be. So yeah, so I'm not sure. This year I will definitely be doing it, but last year I pretty much am thinking I'm going to skip over October in our project life because I documented a ton of what we were doing. I mean, if we were doing something outside that made it into the October daily, that was probably the only thing that we did that day. The kids are going to school. Like, my kids are older, so I just don't have tons of pictures anymore of everyday life. So let me know in the comments. I'm sorry, that was a real long, drawn out question, but let me know in the comments below. Are you still doing or are you still doing Project Life? And if you have a big moment like this, would you again do it in your kids' album? So, all right, so there is that spot, as you can see, where I will need an embellishment. I think I go searching for one, but just can't find one. I have the October mood from last year still printed out, and things just didn't fit quite well because I used a lot of the goldenrod ones. So, all right, moving right along to the next project. As you've seen, I stopped to take a sip of my apple pie martini. Love those things. And we were doing a little, a little martini night with some crafting this night. My husband is a restaurant manager, so some nights he closes and doesn't get home until about midnight, and I take advantage of those nights to craft. So after I've gotten all my work done for the day. All right, so this obviously, I kind of did it a little bit backwards. This is now the homecoming parade, which obviously would have been the day before the homecoming, but it is what it is. That's why I kind of skipped ahead, but no biggie. Again, this is just a part of the goldenrod. I actually think that I think a lot of this spread is actually October moods. I'm gonna shift there. I think a lot of this one was October Moods by Traci Reed. And so to play up the school colors a little bit, which are red, black, and white, I used a little bit of that star paper, and then some of the red paper, which my printer did not print out very red. So this is probably the first time that I found that though it looks red here on screen, again, and this might be my calibration of my computer, you do need to watch out for that when you are doing digital. Sometimes your screen calibration is not in sync with your printer. It is easier to sync your screen with your printer than it is to sync your printer with your screen. So just know that. But as you're seeing, I'm like, I'm not loving this, but I keep on going for a little bit. This I did print out just on my photo paper. That was like a brush or, an element in the October mood. No. Yes, in the October mood collection. Sorry, I am getting mixed up since it's like kind of all the same. And I use that as like a mixed media type thing. So that would be like a stencil with some, splatters. We're just not getting that deep right now. I know I did with my first story, but this one I was trying to knock out. So as you can see, I looked over to the side of me and I found some red paper. And I was like, ooh, I think this red paper was from a Christmas card that I was been making. And I'm like, there we go. That's much more red on how I want it. So I took a piece to mat my photo on and then to create that strip that I will over here. This layout is actually heavily inspired by an L Studio layout / sketch that I'll put right here for you guys. And I just kind of went off of that. It was a 12 by 12 layout and I shrunk that thing to make it work here. So it was quite a fun little, and I've been wanting to use this one. I had it pinned for quite some time on my Pinterest board. So it was quite fun to do that, but didn't get that darn blade close enough to that edge. I'm so mad. I'm like, oh, I hate using scissors because I never get it straight and it looks chunky, but I was like, whatever. And lo and behold, I'm doing it on the wrong side of the paper anyways. So, yeah, you're not going to see that edge anyways because that's in the binding of the book. Again, it looks fine, but... Now, one thing that I do wish I would have thought a little bit more about, just a teeny tiny bit, is that this is going directly beside my vellum piece. And do they match? They don't look the best together. And I do, if I'm not doing a full page spread, I do like my pages to match a little bit better than what this did. But again, I'm not literally going to let that hold me back. And we move forward. I just put it down. So this was just a label from October Mood, I believe. I believe it was October Mood. I believe. Again, I will link all of Traci Reed's stuff down below. She has amazing digital kits, and so much stuff comes in her kits. And then she also gives you like the lines for the silhouette. Now, sometimes I will print it all out, like I did the October Mood kit. But I was finding like I like to adjust my elements a lot, and sometimes her elements are too big or too small. So I like to adjust them and print, in the computer. So I've stopped printing them out like that as much. All right. So next up is just, now I am going to put my, just map out where I want my photo to go, because as you've seen in that sketch before, she stamped fun all over the back of the thing, and I am going to be stamping parade. There we go. I forgot to turn on my camera. Plus I was like concentrating like really hard since I'd already done all of this work. So pretty much I just mapped out where the picture was going to be. So because I didn't need to do all that stamping in between, and put a few words, on top, then just put a few letters around the edges to make it look like it was going underneath that picture. And I called it good. I didn't need to copy the, sketch completely. You make your sketches your own. And I had taken a lot of, inspiration from that. So we are just going to stamp out a parade at a time and do my journaling later. You'll see that come up here, maybe in the Instagram photos or something along those lines. Again, I will probably be typing that out on that Mako transfer paper, or transparent paper, because I didn't want to write, like, I'll make a mistake. So yeah, it is looking pretty good. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what I'm. Oh, I am going to pull out a few red stars and along with a silver star from L Studio. I don't actually, probably the silver stars from Ellie Edwards, but the plastic stars are definitely from L Studio, and just kind of go around here and put them down just to add a little bit more. I do take off a ton of the layers off of this chipboard star just to, again, reduce bulk, because that is all I'm trying to do in this album and not doing the greatest job. But this is all like one-ish layer. I mean, I know there's a couple layers of paper, but this was a very, flat spread. So, all right, there you see I'm about to put it in here. Now, I was like, oh, see, I put it on the wrong side. But, I was like, no, I was going to put it after and be like, it doesn't matter, the way it goes into the album. But, I just left it. I'm like, no, it'll probably be bothering me later that I didn't put it in order and, blah, blah, blah. So, I just put it in there. I will have to say that going back and working in a TN and like putting things into an already built album is not my jam. Things don't line up well. I'm having to cut things down. I forget that I'm going to have to cut the edges down. So if you are doing something along this line, leave yourself room on the edges. That's all I can say, is just leave yourself room on the edges. Remember to not make it obviously 4.25. I even cut this one down a little bit, and it still is, and it's going to keep on doing this as the more and more I get in my album. So yeah, this year I just wanted to try and save a little money and not go into an album, but probably next year and from here on out, I will be just getting life crafted albums and doing it that way. So I'm still in, that 4.25, 8 by 8.25 format, but not really having to worry about the binding of the book pretty much. And that way, if I want to do, a chunky spread, I can do a chunky spread. If I don't, I don't have to. So, but that is pretty much the end of that. You are going to see like that the way I did things, I haven't put the homecoming on the next page yet, right, this one. Like I said, I had put it into the book, as you can see here, without doing the stamping for some oddball reason. But yeah, I jumped around a little bit in this album, or in this video, doing things. I was taking kids to school, to activities, and coming back and doing some, and then finishing up the rest once they all went to bed. So, but thank you guys so much for being here. Here's a mini flip through that's not on the on frame. So sorry. I love how it turned out. Oh, I did want to just put the date on this one. So I just did some stays on ink, since I'm doing it right on the transparency, and doing a couple of second and third generation stamping. So talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.